been keeping a little secret over the past couple years.
And we're excited to share it with you today.
We're adopting from Thailand! Woohoo!
So we've been married for 9 years now.
9 very happy years.
And about 5 years ago, we started talking about having a family.
And immediately after we started talking about it, adoption came up into the conversation. Mainly because when I was about 18 years old, I started dreaming about adopting when I was older, and we got married as babies. I mean,
we were babies.
Yeah.
20. Well, she was a baby. I guess I was starting to. I was a little older.
We were 20 and 23, so pretty much babies. And we were not ready to have a family right away. But after a few years passed, we started talking about it again, and we just knew right away that we felt like God was calling us to adoption.
We definitely couldn't get away from that feeling.
Yes, it was just like this magnetic draw. We just could not get away from it every time we talked about starting a family. And so we started praying about it pretty seriously and saying, God, if you really want us to adopt, what country do you want us to adopt from? We started looking at Asia because that is kind of a popular adoption destination. And we chose our agency.
Once we chose our agency, we kind of saw what the options were from our agency. And we were, like you said, drawn to Asia. And we kept looking, praying about where God wanted us to adopt. And Thailand.
It kind of rose to the surface. Yeah. We just kept praying, and we just felt so much peace about Thailand. We've met all of the requirements, and most of the children are young from there, so we just knew that was where God wanted us to adopt from.
Definitely.
But then there was one other hurdle.
International adoption is not cheap.
It is not. It is quite the pricey thing. So we just started praying, okay, God, if this is really you and you really want us to adopt, you're going to have to pave the way. You're going to have to provide for us. So we started getting creative.
So we started looking we'd flipped the house already. And so we thought, well, maybe this might be an avenue we could pursue to help fund our adoption. And God led us to this little brick house. Ranch house.
Some of you longtime social media followers may remember about 4 years ago we bought a little house. It was a little ranch brick house. It was so cute, and we have a funny story kind of about how we got the house. It's pretty amazing, actually. So
it was definitely a God story, because we put an offer in on this house, and we found out that there were 16 other offers on this house, and the agent asked, "Hey, do you want to raise your offer so you have a better chance of getting this house?" And we just didn't feel like we were supposed to. We didn't feel comfortable with that because we had to have a certain profit margin, for us to be able to fund this adoption.
Yes. So we did not raise our offer. We said, no, we can't. We'll just leave our offer in there, but we didn't expect to get it. And I prayed, God, if you want us to adopt, please help it to work out. And 2 days later, we got an email from the agent saying they accepted your offer with no counter offer. And we found out later that 13 of the 16 offers were above asking price, and they just took our offer outright. To this day, we know that was God because we had specifically prayed, God, give us a sign, show us what we're supposed to do.
That was the sign, I think. We knew we were supposed to adopt, but that just put us over the top.
Oh yeah, that was the confirmation.
Major confirmation.
Yes.
That, okay, God's going to pave the way for this.
Yes, so. We knew that day that was definitely what God wanted us to do.
In November of 2017, when we sold our flip house, our adoption was fully funded.
Woohoo! We were celebrating and praising the Lord all the way that day.
Yep.
And then we actually sold the house over Thanksgiving. And then right after Christmas, we signed all of the paperwork to start our adoption from Thailand. We were immediately accepted into the program, but we had already been warned by our agency that because of the number of families who had applied, it was a very, very long wait right now. Normally, the whole program from start to finish is 2 years. And they were telling us that just to get matched, it may take up to 2 years and then another year after that to travel. So we settled in for the long wait. We did all of our paperwork. I mean, piles and piles of paperwork. I guess I should say I did the paperwork. He fixed up the house.
I signed a lot of stuff.
Yeah. He fixed up the house. I did the paperwork. So we waited 826 days before we were matched with a baby.
Which is 2 years, 3 months, and 4 days.
Yes. Wow.
Do we know the hours and seconds?
No, thank God we don't. I don't want to know.
No.
But it was a very, very, very long wait. And to be honest, there were some really tough times through that because we knew it was what God had called us to do, but we're human and we just would get discouraged at some points. And April 3rd of this year was one of my biggest down days. We had been waiting 800 and some days, and I just was really discouraged because we were the 5th family on the list. And for perspective, we had started at number 39 on the list. And we were at number 5 now, and we knew that there was a new group of children coming in soon. They come in quarterly, so 4 times a year, and usually just a handful of children. So we were number 5, and I knew we were going to be so close to getting matched. And I found out that week that only 4 children came in, and we were number 5. And I was really, really discouraged that day.
She was. I remember sitting at the table eating breakfast, and she was discouraged. And I mean, I've gone through the discouragement as well, so we both know how each other feel going through this. And we were sitting there, and I had read earlier in that day in the Bible, in Matthew, where Jesus was talking to his disciples, that they needed to have the faith of a mustard seed, and if they had that anything was possible. So
yeah, he was giving me a pep talk, basically, is what he's saying. I was shedding a few tears and saying, you're right, we just have to have faith. God can work a miracle, and he can give us our baby in his perfect timing. And so I went about my day. He went outside and started pulling the weeds in the yard. We were doing some landscaping, and I decided to fold the laundry. And I remember it very well. It was 2:08 p.m. and my phone rang. And I was trying to have that mustard seed faith that, maybe, but I thought, oh, it's probably my mom. Sorry, Mom. But I turned and looked at my caller ID, and it was a call from Oregon. And our agency is in Oregon, and they only call you if it is good news. They email bad news, and they call with good news. And I knew, this is the call. They're calling us. How are we getting the call? So I answered it really quickly. I said, is this the call? That's what I said. And she's like, it is. Congratulations, you've been matched with a baby. And I said, wait, I got to get my husband. So I ran outside, and there's video evidence of this because we have
a security camera on
yeah.
our doors, and
kind of embarrassing.
It caught her coming out and going, come on.
He said, no, That's what you said.
I remember
no way.
I was kneeling on the ground in the back of our house, and I was literally pulling weeds in this bed we had, and I look up, and she's going, come on.
Yep.
And so I was like, no.
Oh, so after
I knew
8,
there was a possibility we could be getting a phone call that day, and I knew from her reaction that was the phone call.
Yes. So after 826 days, we went and stood on the kitchen island, or by the kitchen island, and he was crying, and I was laughing.
It was just my allergies.
I was smiling so big I couldn't cry, and she said, congratulations, you have been matched with a 9-month-old baby boy. It's a boy. And we were so shocked. She started telling us some of his history.
We're just standing there like not knowing what to say. We were so shocked and happy.
I remember the agent from our agency saying, are you guys okay with that? Is that good? And we're like, yeah. It's great. We were so shocked because he was 9 months old. Our agency had told us to prepare for a baby. We were open to either gender, and a baby that maybe was closer to 2 years old. So we were expecting a toddler, really. And so to have a baby, we were just in shock. And she started telling us some more details, and I don't hardly remember a thing she said other than it's a baby boy. And we got off the phone, and we immediately like, we got to tell our parents. But we didn't even have a picture of him yet. So, yeah.
Should we tell him the name?
Yes. You can go ahead and announce your son's name.
His name is Theodore Michael Tawin Metz.
Yes, and
we're calling Theo.
We're gonna call him Theo. But Tawin was his Thai name, and we wanted to keep that a part of his name because it means a person of purity.
So that means he's gonna be perfect. He's not. We're not gonna have any trouble.
Like his father. Yeah.
Oh yes. Just like
But yes, and Michael, obviously, we put that in there as a second middle name, and then Theo means God's gift, and he literally is a perfect, pure gift from heaven. Oh my word. We're so thrilled. And we do have a photo of him now. So you want to share it?
Here he is.
I know what you're thinking. Why is his face covered up? Well, unfortunately...
It's a little teaser.
Yes. Unfortunately, due to Thai adoption laws, we are unable to share his photo, any identifying photos of his face, on any social media sites unless it is a private group until his adoption is finalized in the United States, which is almost a year after we bring him home. And I know that's hard,
so you're just going to have to take our word for it that he's the cutest little boy that you'll ever see.
He is cutest little face ever, but we're a little bit biased, I think.
Maybe a little bit.
So after we were matched on April 3rd of this year, we began another wait in the process. After that,
that's part of the adoption game.
Yes.
Hurry up and wait.
Literally.
Someone gave us some very brilliant advice about adoption when we first getting started, and it's hurry up and wait.
Yes, it's so true. You get these mountain high moments, and then you have a lot of waiting after that. So after we were matched with Theo, we entered into the waiting phase of waiting for the government to approve our adoption. So basically, they will sign off on our adoption, all of our paperwork in Thailand, and that is normally 7 to 10 months.
We felt very impressed to specifically start praying about this wait to get this approval. Like she said, it was going to take maybe 7 to 10 months to get this approval, and who knows how much longer, maybe since this pandemic was going on. And so we started feeling like we should start praying about it, and the Thai board puts out a schedule of when they meet to give these first approvals. So we had their schedule when they would be meeting, and so we decided on the days that they would be meeting to hand out first approvals to families, so that we would just start praying and putting things aside, distractions aside, and start praying on those days that we would maybe somehow get early first approval.
So we started praying in the middle of August, and on the days of the board meetings, like setting all social media aside and trying to just focus in on every time we thought of it, praying for an approval. And the following week, after the first board meeting that we prayed all day, the following week we heard from the government board that they needed a new updated document from us and that they were getting ready to review our case for approval. And we were at 4.5 months waiting at that point. And we were like shocked because we know a lot of other adopted families that have waited much, much longer. And so we started getting our hopes up and we said, okay, we're going to double down even harder and pray at the next board meeting. And we submitted our updated documents, and it was just maybe 2 days before the board meeting, so we didn't expect approval at that day, but we doubled down anyways and kept praying, and we prayed through that board meeting, and they only meet twice a month, so 2 weeks later we prayed again. And what happened this past week?
Well, we were out on the road doing a concert in Hartville, Ohio, and we were walking to our hotel, and Courtney looks down and said, we got the call. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we got the call.
Yes, the agency was calling, but I missed the call because I had my ringer turned off because we were in sound check and we were getting ready to go to sound check and stuff. And it was the call. Our agency was calling again to say, congratulations, you've been approved. And we were approved in a few days shy of 5 months, which is absolutely unheard of in the normal adoption world, much less the pandemic adoption world. So we are totally shocked and amazed at what God is doing in our adoption so far.
Definitely.
So some of you may be wondering now, what are the next steps now that your adoption has been approved? Well, now that it's approved, we decided to share it with you guys because we are really close to getting that baby.
We are 3 to 5 months away from traveling to get Theo.
We are so
Lord
excited.
willing, if the borders open.
Yes. So if you remember us in prayer, just ask that God would let the borders open. That is our biggest request. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we receive that written approval in the mail from the Thai government, we file it with U.S. Immigration Services, and then we will be paperwork ready, Lord willing, by December. So around Christmas time, if the borders open, Lord willing, maybe a little bit later, depending on how many families are ahead of us to travel, since no one has been traveling for several months, we will be going to Thailand to get our baby boy, and we are so blessed.
We're so excited.
Oh, can't handle it.
Thank you so much for joining in with us and our excitement today.
Yes, we are so excited to have you on this journey with us finally, and to hopefully celebrate with us and pray with us as we finish up this monumentous journey for us. We do want to leave you on one last note, though. There is a scripture verse that has really encouraged us and kind of sums up our entire adoption journey over the past 5 years. And I got to read it without crying, but it is Jeremiah 32:17. O Lord God, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. Nothing is too difficult for you.
Nothing.
He has proved it over and over and over again over the past 5 years that he will protect, he will provide, and he will lead us no matter what we're going through.
Yes. And if God is calling you to do something, you can rest assured that he will equip you to do it, he will provide for you, and he will open closed doors so that you will know the exact path that you should take.
And we encourage you just to say yes, no matter what God is calling you to say yes. There is no greater peace than being God in God's perfect will for you. And we will leave you on that thought, but we have one more thing to say. We're parents! Woo!